Hello, my name is Daniel Fraser, and this is Magnetism. This was a 5-person collaborative project for various production classes at Sheridan College. This project was built in Unity and makes use of Photoshop, Illustrator, Sprite, SourceTree, Audacity, Maya, Substance Painter, and Beatbox. My roles were as a designer and a programmer. I created the movement and helped with the magnet gun functionality along with bug fixing within levels. Magnetism's design focus was placed on puzzle solving by interacting with movable objects. We took some time to settle on a theme and ended up on something that was inspired by Stardew Valley and a touch of Spelunky, a mineshaft that only gets deeper, darker, and more challenging. The movement was designed to be a simple 8-directional navigation on the XZ plane. We never wanted the player to be frustrated with placing objects ever so carefully into spots using a 360-degree aiming system on multiple axes, so our movement instead had to be nearly grid-like to simplify how objects can be carried and placed. We also figured having level elements laid out in a grid would help our level designer create levels carefully yet efficiently using level generation tools. The magnet gun works in tandem with its 8 directions, allowing objects to be pushed and pulled along the plane, with a little bit of lifting on the Y, in the player's facing direction. The magnet gun has simple rules. Light objects can be pushed and pulled using the player controller. Inversely, heavy objects will push and pull the player due to the sheer weight or anchoring of the object to the ground. These rules were then expanded upon to create gameplay scenarios for puzzle solving or combat. For example, players can use heavy objects to pull themselves across a large pit hazard, or they can use light objects to destroy enemies. Using our level generation and simple rules of world interaction, we were able to complete a nice World 1 experience of 15 levels with some additional polish in having collectibles and bonus features. The hardest problem I solved was making the movement and magnet gun functionality work with our level design. We had the design of our mechanics down, but we needed a set of levels to fit it all together in a cohesive loop. Since our mechanics relied a bit on physics and fitting objects into specific places, various aspects of how the objects moved and how the player should position themselves to move them had problems in actual levels. Things would get stuck, raycasts got caught up between several objects in a tight space, the player would be constantly adjusting themselves to move an object a specific way, etc. In the end, we developed several internal rules for the level designs and the rules for how objects were to move. Objects would slightly float, tight spaces would be used sparingly, objects would be spread out if possible, and objects' physics would be limited to movement and no rotation. In the end, this project was very rewarding. We have a very polished vertical slice with a neat concept. It was an interesting challenge to design gameplay rules with dynamic use cases. In addition, this was our first larger project done completely remotely. We also used production tools such as Jira for the first time to keep on schedule and maintain agile development throughout the months of creating the game. Hope you enjoyed this breakdown of Magnetism.